All right. Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here on Lions Talk Live today. I'm sure we're all fairly aware that the Lions, man, 6-2. What do you got to say, man? Coming into the season, I believe if we would have all looked around at the schedule, looked at it, and said, what is a realistic expectation for this team going into the bye week? If somebody would have said 6-2, I gotta believe the vast majority of us would have said, "Hey, we're okay with that. That'd been great. Probably even maybe a little bit better than most expectations." I don't know. What I can say though is, once upon a time, we did kind of question about the draft class, at least the first rounders. And I'm going to say this: there might be a little bit less questioning of that today. So before we get into all that, you guys know I got a couple things I'm gotta do. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Trying to get to, say, by the end of the week, 4,200 subs. So if you're enjoying the content, the channel, and you want to help out, go ahead and hit that subscription button. Don't forget the thumbs up button. Also, as some of you may or may not know, other than being a coach and hosting this channel, I sell real estate, and I sell a lot of real estate. So if you're looking for someone to work on your behalf, someone who's going to help you save money, either purchasing property or on the sale of property, give me a call, shoot me a text, whatever works best for you, 269-998-2384. Let me see if I can help you find a way to not only just get the property you want, sell the property you need to sell, but also save you some money and put a little extra in your pockets. All right, I see the chats are moving as we probably all anticipated. Let's see what we got here. Lions fan, what do we got? Good morning, coach. What do you think our final record is going to be? Oof. At this point, assuming we stay healthy, Lions fan, I'm going to say, I could see us still getting 5 losses, maybe 4. So we'll just say somewhere around 13 wins, give or take, right in that area. Quentin, what do you got? Do we make any trades today? We talked about it in the post-game show last night. I think there's like a 40% chance, 60% chance we do, 40% chance we don't. And again, I mentioned it a little bit and didn't go into a ton of depth. But if you watch when they put, Adam Scheffler on the air last night and basically asked him about trade deadlines, and then eventually asked him about the Detroit Lions potentially making any trades, you could see he was aware of some options that the Lions were in negotiations with. Also paid attention to the fact he mentioned Washington. He also mentioned he was aware the Lions were looking for another cornerback. And then, yes, he did kind of mention the Lions in front line. So we talked about it last week. We said this, that the word was that I had received that the Lions called about Sweat and Fuller. I think if you were reading Scheffler's body language, he was fairly aware of that trade. Whether or not it goes down, I mean, that's impossible for me to say, because ultimately I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what the Lions are willing to give in order to get. And I will say this, we've talked about it a ton this last week or two. You got an opportunity to get this thing. You got an opportunity to maybe get the number 1 seed. You need to have a better record than the Seahawks in order to have the number 2 seed or 1 seed or whatever it will be. So I'd be pushing a lot of chips into the table today. So we'll see what shakes out, though. All right, Little John, what do you got? Does everyone think we still need another running back? Well, I'm going to say this. We talked about the rookie class just real briefly, and I'm going to say I think there's a whole lot less question marks, raised eyebrows about Gibbs at this point than probably just a day or so ago. We've said when he's had his opportunities, the kid's made some plays. He's made some big ones. But obviously yesterday was his coming out party, and without a question, he came out and just did a great job. You can see the Lions brass would prefer to have 2 legit running backs, and I get that because they're going to get beat up. You're going to need to take snaps away from them. Somebody may have to miss a game. Whatever it may be, this group came into play, and, man, this kid's, I think, just getting started. Trey, what do you got? Greetings and salutations, Dan. May the Mountain Dew be with you. How good is this rookie class? Well, kind of like I was just saying, man, I think, it's a pretty good class. And sometimes I get in past years with some of our rookie classes, everybody's starting so quick. We're like, man, this is a phenomenal draft class. Look at everything they're doing already. So because of that, I get there's a tendency to say, hey, um, that rookie class is better than this rookie class, whatever. But we've also talked about on the channel, sometimes it's just you got better people at better positions playing ahead of these guys. Gibbs obviously is a phenomenal running back. The problem for him in other games is that Montgomery has been out there playing, so there's just less opportunities for him. I think you're seeing Jack Campbell emerge as well. Yeah, he had the one hit yesterday that kind of gave the Raiders a little bit of room away from the end zone. The low hit on the Garoppolo, but at the same time too, if you see he's getting tripped, he's falling, he kind of falls into him. He's getting more and more reps as well. He may not be putting up the same stats as say Laporta or whoever else, but this rookie class looks like it's going to be pretty good. Probably a long answer there, but Jim, what do you got? 6-2, baby, one pride. Yeah, I agree, man. It's got to feel pretty good to have us up there. And you see any of them, the metrics, Lions are among the tops in the league. All right, great to see Gibbs go off last night. Yeah, and I got to imagine we're going to see a whole lot of that, a whole lot more of that in coming weeks. Yeah, happy Halloween to everybody, including you too, Jim. Hope you enjoy it. Phil, morning dew crew. Yeah, somebody had a couple of good, a bunch of you guys had some good comments or names. If we all meet up at a tailgate or, maybe buy some section tickets all together for a game in the future. Yeah, we'll have to come up with some good names, but yeah, that was, I think we got something there. Vendigo News, what do you got? Good morning, chat. Great day to be a Lions fan. I would agree. Yeah, the Lions, hey, man, you're going to the bye at the right time on a high note. I get we could have scored a lot more points. We kind of left some stuff on the table, but it is what it is. So you got to move on. Jim, thanks for that. Hey, I'll take that. I will buy a Mountain Dew and a hot dog. Good morning, Dan. Great win last night. Appreciate all you do. Happy Halloween. Thanks very, very much for that, man. I will put that to work today. Thanks again, man. Nick, good morning, coach. The rookies really made a huge impact in that game last night. Exclamation point. I sure hope that we only have a glimpse of what the future holds for Gibbs. And, Nick, I think we're all just scratching the surface here. They're going to find more and more ways to get him involved. I mean, man, you could just see from the opening drive, they were going to focus on him, whether it was either the quick passes, the runs, and, let's also give Gibbs some credit, plus the entire offense. You could see the Lions were trying to establish the run early to give some of that middle of the offensive line that, basically these are all backups or even backups to the backups, a little bit of opportunity to breathe, because it's a whole lot easier typically for offensive linemen to run block than it is to pass block. And I think Ben Johnson knew that some of these guys, like I'm going to kill Corby's name, Scoresdale, an opportunity to just kind of take a deep breath and kind of get into the flow of the game. So I think that's why they were so focused on that. But to your point, Nick, and I know I kind of already talked about a little bit, they're all progressing and nicely. I can't really think of one of them that's being a dud out there. I don't think anybody can call any of them busts either, because, okay, yeah, Gibbs and Campbell were having to earn their playing time and reps more than perhaps other guys. I mean, let's be fair with Brian Branch. He's out there and there's just little competition at his particular spot. So he's just the starter by attrition. Same with Laporta. I think this rookie class is going to be pretty special, especially when we look back a year or two from now. Lions fan, we got good morning, Dan from YouTube land. Hey, thank you for that. Hopefully you're having a great one, man. JP, go Lions 6-2 at the bye. 6-2 at the bye and a real opportunity to get healthy. We come out, man, if we come out and get that win against the Chargers, I think we could really see the Lions go on a run to maybe potentially get 10-2 or roughly in that neighborhood before we get another loss. But don't overlook the Chargers by any means or any team. Bergs, good morning, Lions faithful. A great morning, 6-2. And yeah, when is the last time the Lions been 6-2? If somebody knows, throw it in the comment section below. But I didn't get an opportunity to look it up this morning. Actually, I had to finish some work from last night. So, but that would be an interesting one, because I know Stafford had a team that went 5-1, but then I want to say they lost some games, went to like 5-4 before, finishing out the season, making the playoffs and stuff. But I can't remember. I'm trying to remember if any of the Wayne Fonts teams got the 6-2. I know a couple of them were close, very close. I just can't remember if any of them did it. Ozzy Osbourne, good morning. Gibbs went off last night. Still no major catches for Williams, though. And when he had the one drop, and then he had the one deep shot that, it kind of posts over the middle that he caught that, and that was not an easy catch. That was a pretty good one. But we're going to probably have to keep waiting and progressing him. I still view him as a rookie this year. And yes, I know Troy Aikman talked about last night. He's got a ton of upside. You're just going to have to help him go through some of the rough patches of developing this year. But I'll say this, and you guys have heard me say it, I just want to see a little bit of improvement every game. His run blocking is pretty sound. His route running, at least last night, the couple routes I watched on film, and I didn't watch the coach's film yet. Won't be able to do that till later today. I think he's going to keep progressing. And, man, the bye may be real good for him just to kind of get a little bit more polished on a few things. We get him going, he's going to be a weapon for sure. All right, David, good morning. Victory Tuesday. Absolutely, man. And every time we can say it's a victory after a game, that was a good game. Gary, Victory Tuesday, trade day. Yeah, and all eyes will be on the screens for that. I know I talked about it with a few of you guys yesterday. Real quick, let me pull up my work schedule, make sure I don't regret saying this. Okay, so if you guys want, the trade deadline's at 4 o'clock. If you guys would like, I can try to do say 3:30 to 4 o'clock, a live broadcast. We can kind of see any trades that are coming in. Let me know if you guys want, and I'll try to do that. Otherwise, we just post a video or something if a trade does go down. All right, Mike, what do you got? Go Lions, baby. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of happy Lions fans today. And again, yesterday's game wasn't perfect, but we can also say this. You have a gajillion turnovers. You score 7 points for the other team, and you still win by 12. I mean, it wasn't a perfect game by any means, but the Lions have come a long way to where you can make those statements where you can mess up that bad and still win. So good for us, man. The team has progressed. Berg's proud to be part of the Dew fan club. Go Lions. Yeah, we'll have to get some shirts with Lions on it and stuff in Mountain Dew. I got to try to find a sponsor somehow from Pepsi for that. So I'm going to have to make some calls and fill out some forms and try to bug people I don't know and see what I can do. All right, Trey, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. Great game for Gibbs and nice rebound catch from J-Mo. Yeah, that was not an easy catch, and he caught that thing pretty clean. You could even say, Trey, that, if that one guy doesn't trip him up, that's a house call. He would have been gone. They did try to get him with the end around, but, Crosby blew that thing up. I was surprised they ran it at Crosby, but, maybe they just didn't consider that part. Who knows? Brother Ken, good morning, family. Yeah, how are you doing, man? Nice and warm, or is it bitter cold where you're at, man? Hopefully you're having a good one, though. Donberg, greetings and salutations to you too, brother. Hopefully you're having a good day too. A due day. See what I did there? All right, Brent, what do you got? Victory Tuesday is even sweeter after Gibbs outgained the Raiders. Great pick at number 12. Yeah, there are gonna be a lot of people, and we all get it, man. We've seen people in this chat. You've heard us all talk about it. That, man, the Lions could have really taken Carter or something. It's true they could have, but right now, Gibbs. You got Gibbs and Laporta by passing on Carter. And the more that Gibbs plays like this, yeah, everybody's going to say, yeah, we did the right thing. You got two huge weapons that are young on rookie contracts and are difference makers for that offense. So it's looking more and more like the Lions knew what they were doing and they did the right one. All right, JP, 2 weeks to heal up and prepare for the last 9 games. Yeah, and that offensive line, probably more than any other unit, needs it because nothing against the guys we had out there today, but there's a reason why they're backups or even third stringers or whatever. I will also say this. When Big V originally came back from his knee injury, we all saw he was in a backup role for a couple weeks until he was put back into the lineup. Last night he was on the sidelines, but he wasn't in. So it would be my anticipation with Big V at this point. They're going to keep him as a backup just because I don't think they have trust in his availability or reliability to be out there. And nothing against what we have out there, because they, for the most part last night, I thought they played pretty well. I get it in some difficult spots, but our offensive line could use a good rest. All All right, Scott, what do we got? Good morning. Fun fact: American Mountain Dew is so much better than Canadian. Also, let's go, Brad. Beef up our good team and make it a legit contender. One or two additional, please. And yeah, I'm going to be real interested. I'm really hopeful. I think if there is a trade to be made, it is the Washington trade for Sweat and Fuller. What you're going to have to give up to get both of them, but I think if we do pull that off, this defense does get really good. I talked about it briefly in the post game chat last night, but one thing I would say for our sacks, the problem I have with it, and we had a great game. I get it. We had 100 sacks or whatever, but they all came out of schematic principles. So, like I'll use this example. There was one sack where I know Anzalone gets. Romeo Cora gets the sack. So Romeo's out wide. You've got McNeil inside. McNeil purposefully comes rushing at Romeo's blocker, and that would have been the left tackle. And the guard assigned to block him goes with him. That allows Romeo to stun in and come right after the quarterback scot-free because the guard doesn't switch. He goes with who he thought was the first person he was responsible for blocking. So, the fact that we got so many sacks off of those type of principles means Aaron Glenn did a great job coaching this team up. When they weren't doing those things, though, there is very little pass rush out of this group. Hutchinson all day long, unless I missed a play or two, they were sending either a running back or a tight end to chip them and then release. And then there were a lot of times you could see the guard play, and it was typical of other teams that right guard, right guard, would come over, look for somebody else. If there wasn't somebody for them to pick up, then they would move over to Hutchinson. So clearly every team we're playing is picking up Hutchinson first with double, sometimes triple team blocks. Nobody else is straight up winning or getting a high win rate to get to the quarterback on the other side. So I would say this: if we really want to make a deep run, it'd be my thoughts. We got to go out and get somebody else who can get a high win rate away from Hutchinson. That way, we can get a pass rush, because right now there's just nothing else going on. All right, Don, what do you got? Gibbs goes from fans saying we need Jalen Carter to, man, Gibbs is the man. Yeah, there's going to be a whole lot of that this week. And I got to imagine most of the national media, we might not be as hyped up as we were a few weeks ago, but when they talk about us, and they will, because the Monday Night Football is something new to talk about, especially today, the trade deadline, stuff like that. Gibbs's performance is going to take a lot of notice. People are going to be talking about him. You're probably going to hear a whole lot of narrative change where people are going to say, man, the Lions, they knew what they were doing there. Man, what a great pick. I told you we should have drafted him. You're going to see a whole lot of that. Again, Jim, thanks very much for that. It was very kind of you. All right, Crypto, what do we got? If we don't make any moves today, I'll be shocked if we win more than one playoff game. I think a lot of it, Crypto, is going to come down to where we're playing and the matchup. Because there are a lot of favorable NFC matchups, or at least there's not any that I would be, man, we just have no shot. There's some teams that are not as great a matchup for us, but yeah, I'm with you. I think we need, if it was me, we'd be picking up a few parts, because opportunities like this just aren't going to come around very much. And I would even say this: we're probably, all of us, the rest of the season, rooting for the 49ers to win out, because that means 2 losses to Seattle. Give Seattle 2 losses, and then you give Philadelphia a loss, and that scenario helps out Detroit a lot. And yeah, we're at that point where we got to start putting together rooting guides, especially like this weekend when we're not playing. Gary, what do you got? I don't think the Lions will be picking up any running back today. We have a Beason Gibbs. Yeah. Him, Montgomery going to come back. I could get if they're going to sign somebody just for depth purposes. Are they going to trade for somebody to do that? Maybe not at this point. All right, Thomas, what do you got? Greetings and salutations. Didn't particularly like the way we sputtered in the red zone. Oh, I agree on that, man. Overall, the team came together, but we definitely got exposed in the red zone. Yeah, and I get we're all going to say, hey, you got the fumble. That was it a fumble? Was it not a fumble? I get from a refereeing standpoint, that was just incredibly hard for them to overturn the call in the field. I mean, they're going to have to come up with some kind of technology to prevent that. Otherwise, I think you're going to see more and more guys in the pile try to rip the ball out, which obviously you shouldn't allow them to rip it out, but it's going to happen. Or they're going to have to be able to come up with a way to say, yes, that person's down or not. I just thought, man, from the stop of momentum, while they're not physically down on the ground, you're clearly in a position you can't go anywhere. To say that was a fumble, I thought that was tough, but it is what it is. Man Bear, Mountain Dew morning, Dan, have a glow day. Thanks for that, man. Same to you, man. Hopefully you're going to have a great one. All right, Brother Ken, building through the draft is good, but you still have to spend money to make money. Are you listening, Brad? Yeah, and again, not to belate the point, but you could tell Schefter knew something was going on. So it just all comes down to whatever it's going to be. I'm trying to think of other teams with potential parts the Lions could be going after if it wasn't Washington. I guess we're just going to all have to wait and see what happens today. But, hey, it gives us something to look forward to today, right? Rob, what do you got? Gibbs has passed Monty in rushing yards for the season. I mean, he's had limited time. I get they're different types of backs, but I'm going to say this. The Lions have a real nice, for the foreseeable future, 2-back system. So keep them healthy, keep them running. But Gibbs has just got something sort of like Jameson Williams, I would say. There's just very few people on this planet that can do what those guys do. And the fact that we've got both of them, I would say this. Everybody take a moment of pause and deep breath. And just when it comes to Jameson Williams, just understand this kid's going to need some time to develop. But when he gets there, when that light goes off, that's going to be real nice for Detroit. All right, Robert, Max is a beast. Let's trade for him. Yeah, I'd be 1,000% okay with it just because that guy he is rare and special, and he plays angry. He could change the game all by himself. Having him opposite Hutchinson, I think Hutchinson's stock now goes through the roof. Max goes through the roof. The chance of us getting him, though, I'd say are pretty slim. I mean, the Raiders know what they have, and they don't have a lot of talent in multiple spots, at least nothing like his level. You'd have to give him a ton to get him, I think, at least. All right, Don, what do you got? JMO has to get his head right. He's not focused. He ran the wrong route on one play. Yeah, I remember that. And ended up where St. Brown was supposed to be. Got called out for it. I shake my head. Yeah, and he needs time. I agree with you. It's frustrating because I think we all see what he can be, but we also see where he's at. So it's growing pains, man. That's where I'm going to write it off as, and give him time. I mean, at the end of the year, if he hasn't significantly improved, then you probably need to have some conversations about it. But what I can also say is this: we're winning, we're getting production, and hopefully a lot of these younger guys are getting opportunities to grow. All right, Rob, what do we got? Been saying we don't need another big running back. Well, I'd say at this point, Rob, you're 100% right. We're probably not buyers of running backs at this point. So agreed. All right, Brother Ken, Dan, do you think that J-Mo and Goff should spend more time together regarding routes? Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff seems like it's stuff you can clean up over practices. And this may be a great opportunity for that to be addressed with the bye week where it is. If J-Mo's willing to come in and spend time over the bye, same with Goff or anybody else, to work on these things, then we could see, again, improvement coming into the first game after the bye and in the games after the bye. We'll see what they do, though. That's the unknown part. How much time do they devote to it? Hopefully a wee bit. All right, what do you got? Good morning, sir. Detroit D-line need help, and Jamari blow so far. Well, is what it is. I'll say this. The D-line, yeah, I think if we could get something else out there to help rush the passers, that would be ideal. Houston's got to be getting closer and closer to being back. I think that does help with that. But I would not hesitate at all to get somebody like a Crosby or, whoever, Sweat, Young, just somebody out there. Because even if, just say Houston comes back and he's fine, you still need depth. You still need to be able to rotate bodies. We haven't called John Kaminsky's name in a minute, among other people. So we need to get some reliability opposite Hutchinson. And then that also takes away some of the double team blocks that he's facing in the chips. So just food for thoughts. All right, Shire, what do you got? So we played too good for a trade. I think it's bittersweet, but a win is a win. I'll take a win all day. Yeah, and I'm actually thinking now that we're 6-2, maybe Holmes does kind of look around and say, yeah, we need to get some this or that to match up better with Seattle or Philly or San Fran. All those teams in the last 12 months have made significant trades to try to improve their teams. I get our guys are playing well. I get Campbell and Holmes's stance about maintaining the locker room. Hey, we want the right guys. We don't want to break up the locker room, stuff like that. That's part of that is you got a chance here, man. I can only tell you what I would do, and I'd be going after it. All right, Justin, what do you got? Happy Victory Tuesday, guys. Hell yeah. I can say it's a hell yeah in here. Let's go Lions. Yeah, 100%. Now who are we trading for? I guess that's the question we're all going to have to wait till probably about 4:30 to know if we're going to do something and what we did or who we went after. So I'm hoping we do something. Brent, what do you got? I love seeing Colby Scoresdale getting live game reps because it's accelerating his development. Up and down right night for him overall, not bad. Yeah, I would say, yeah, there was a couple times you could tell on pass blocks, especially early in the game. He just wasn't settled. If you watch his feet, they shuffled a lot. That's why I do think Ben Johnson, ran a lot of run plays because he could drive forward a lot easier on on offensive lineman to run block than it is the pass block, especially since, let's face it, the Raiders do have some nice pass rushers and not so great other than Crosby against the run, but they can get after the quarterback. So yeah, good point on that, Brent. All right, Jerome, what do you got? Morning, Dan. My voice is gone from last night, but a lot of unhappy players around the league. Any chance we can get D. Adams? Ooh. I think the problem with him is, Jerome, is that he wants to stay there, at least from what I've seen or what I don't know the guy personally. That could all be BS or something like that. But if he wants to stay there, the Raiders would have to get quite a bit for him. I think it would make more sense for them to be sellers than buyers because they need a lot of help in different spots. They do have some real stars on that team, like Crosby or Adams. But they also have some severe weaknesses. So to me, yes, it would make sense for them to be sellers. What would you have to get them? Oof. I don't know. I don't think you'd have to give a first to get them. I could see a second or a third maybe for them. But man, our offense, we're going to need more balls to throw around because if you added someone like him along with the other weapons we have, wow, that would be impressive. All right, Pierce, what do you got? Good morning, good win. Get healthy. Please send me Sweat and Fuller today. Yeah, I'm going to be waiting all day with my notifications on, either from my buddies' chat or just ESPN or whoever else, Timbuktu. I'm really hopeful we pull off that trade. Don, once Josh Reynolds fumbled, they didn't go back to him once. I found that fun because he's been good. Yeah, he's been one of the better receivers on the team. And I just wonder if something was up with him yesterday because even his reactions after the fumble, Don, I don't know, he seemed off. And that was odd because I thought St. Brown was the sick one. But whatever it is, yeah, you're 100% right. Like I said, I'll go back and watch the game film on the coach's film probably later tonight once we're back from the dog park and dog trick-or-treating and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say there must be something up with him because he wasn't called out much. And even after that fumble, the way he got up, I almost wonder if he took a shot in the head or something. I don't know. I'm speculating on that, so don't hold me to it. Angie, Craig Reynolds is a beast. He played like it won yesterday. I mean, he was possessed. He hit those holes hard yesterday. Good point on your part. All right, Gary, what do we got? Proud to make a shift of the makeshift offensive line last night. Way to step up and produce. And you're not wrong, man. Going into that game with so many guys getting moved around or back up to the backups playing, there was a lot of opportunity for miscues. And we did get some. We got probably more holdings than normal and, missed blocks on the running game, especially early. But you know what? They found a way to come together and make it work. And you got to really give props to the offensive line coach because what they're doing out there with so many backups, that's not easy to do. That's pretty rare, and they played at a high level. You could also see how it affected the passing game, though. I mean, they purposely, Detroit ran more running plays to probably help out that offensive line. It also meant they couldn't run as much play action as normal because I don't think they wanted to give the offensive lineman that kind of responsibility to hold up in pass protection for extended periods of time. Smart move, in my opinion, at least. But yeah, I thought they did a good job. I'm with you. Scott, if I'm not mistaken, Gibbs' a big TD run was right off of Skipper's block immediately after Dan subbed in. Love the depth. Yeah, and it helps, I think, to your point, Scott, it helps that Skipper's been more or less with the team in the past. I get he didn't start the year here, but they re-signed him. He's very familiar with the principles and concepts, the coaching, so that probably helps quite a bit. He's a massive dude too. He's not small. JMO, what you got there, Phil? Let me know. But I think he's progressing. I think he's still got a ways to go. He's not as polished as probably most of us would like him to be in his second year. But again, I'm still calling this year his rookie year. All right, Jim, don't forget to hit that like button to crew. Yeah, I don't know where it's at, but if you guys haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. And if you if you're watching and enjoying today's show, go ahead and hit that like button. Bergs, 2014, last time we've been 6-2. Thanks for that, man. Ryan, what do you got? Good morning, dude, to you. Good Mountain Dew to you. Same to you, man. All right, Angie, 2011, 6-2. Okay, so we have had something in the last decade and a half or so. All right, Rob, maybe people stop crying about not drafting Carter. I think Gibbs and Laporta earned their stripes. Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that realization that Brad Holmes, Campbell, MCDC, they knew what they were doing here. Yeah, it would have been great to have, I'm sure, had Carter. But you got two guys for the price of one. And that's, when they're playing at this level, that's hard to do. But they pulled it off. All right. Ryan, we got a football question. If you have a 10-play drive that results in a field goal, does the following count as the 10th play? If you have a 10-play drive that results in a field goal, does the following count as the 10th play? Does the field goal count as the 10th play? That would be part of the drive. So yes, that just like if you had a scoring run or a touchdown pass, that would be part of the drive. Little known, going to other facts over the break or whatever when we got to fill up a few more things for you guys. Angie, oops, 2014. Yeah, no worries. Sorry, it was 2011. Got it. So it's happened fairly recently. All right, Steve, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. The offense looked horrible last night. As far as turnovers, yes. I think the overall production, though, man, they had almost 500 yards. It's just, unfortunately, the pick six derailed things. I mean, if that pick doesn't happen and we score a touchdown, that game's over in my anticipation at that point. And then, we have the Reynolds fumble, Craig Reynolds and the Josh Reynolds fumbles. It's unfortunate, but we shot ourselves in the foot a lot last night. With that also being said, though, we did all that and survived, won by 12. So there's some things to clean up without a doubt. Mile marker, good, happy morning. Same to you. Jerome, yes, okay. Bergs, what do you got? You're at Angie. You're right. Angie was the year we got spanked by Saints in the playoffs. Yeah, I remember that year. We were motoring pretty well. It's just, unfortunately, the Saints were a machine. We scored some points. We did some good things in that playoff game. We just could not stop them. Yeah, it happens. All right, Mike, what do you got? Yes, trade day special, please. Okay, yeah, I'll try to put something on. Maybe I'll go on at 3:30. Just understand this. If I'm on the air and I got to do a couple work things while we're waiting for news, you guys have to watch me work. So keep that in mind too. All right, Rob, Craig Reynolds is a solid third running back. Yeah, I would agree. He's earning that more and more. I think. Phil, can you get a due sponsor? I'm actually going to try to work on that. I'll have to call some corporate offices, figure things out. They're going to have forms and stuff if they even remotely entertain it. But why not go for it, man? If we can get Mountain Dew or Pepsi to help sponsor us, then we get to the 10,000 subs, have a tailgate. Did actually talk to one particular corporate entity that said they might be willing to send snacks and things of that sort if we do have the big tailgate and at 10,000 subs. So I am working on some stuff to try to make it fun for you guys. The thing I'll have to try to figure out, if you guys have any ideas, let me know. But if we're gonna do this thing when we get to the 10,000 subs, we got to come up with a way to identify who is a subscriber or not. I guess you could just have people whip out their phones and say, "Hey, Pope Lions Talk Live, are you subbed?" Yes. All right, you get in. If not, you don't. But I'll try to keep working on some things for you guys for that big day. All right, Steve, what do you got? Good morning, Coach. The offense didn't look good in the end zone. No, it did not. It did not. But you have a bad game in one area. The rest of the team played fairly well. Hopefully we work on some stuff over the bye, but they're going to have to clean some things up. Some of that I do have to believe, though, is you got Montgomery out. You got the majority of the offensive line out. That does affect things. The other part is give the Raiders some credit. I mean, I don't think Craig Reynolds' fumble is a fumble. Doesn't matter what I think, though. They ruled it as such. And I get when you're trying to review that, it would be just almost impossible to be able to tell whether or not he was on the ground or not. But I would have been arguing, but was his progression clearly stopped? Because if that's true, it doesn't matter if he's not on the ground. He's stopped. All right, Ryan, what do you got? 21 sacks in 8 games, however, 18 sacks in 3 games and just 3 sacks in the other 5 games. And I think if you go back and you did hear kind of Troy Aikman lament that a bit, Aaron Glenn, when he's conservative, he's damn conservative. And I get against running quarterbacks, for whatever reason, he's just terrified of them to the point where you're almost not rushing the quarterback. He's going to have to get over that because I believe it's impacted both of our losses and other games as well. The Seattle game, if Geno Smith's going to beat us all game running, then I think you got to do it because at least then you're getting shots on him too. Same with Lamar. They don't ask me. I'm not an NFL defensive coordinator, but I would say this. You can't let people just sit back there and roast marshmallows waiting for somebody to eventually get open. So we'll see. But Aaron Glenn, let's also give him some credit. He's improved a ton in the last season or two. Doesn't mean he doesn't have more room for growth, but the dude is getting better. All right, mile marker. Snowy here, but it's okay now. All right. Yeah, I know we're supposed to get some snow today too here, so that happens. Ryan, why didn't St. Brown throw that pass? It's a good question. I mean, it was there. Without a question, it was there. So, Rob the Dew Halo Reigns, yeah. Waiting for Jay Mama. Yeah, I don't think we've seen her in the chat yet today, have we? Antonio, supposedly this is the 13th time in their history that they started 6-2. And the last was 2014. Yeah, I didn't have an opportunity to check it out, but it does seem like enough for you guys are saying that it was, was right around that year, 2014. So, we're in rare air here. We get another win here. We're 7-2, and then we'll have to do some more stats. Look up when's the last time that happened. All right, Mike, J-Mo, aka Clifford Franklin, is so fast that Goff underthrows at times, and his accuracy is challenged. It's not all on J-Mo. I would say this. There is definitely some truth for that because a lot of the deep throws, especially if he lays it out in front of him or J-Mo just has to run under and catch it, it may be a little bit easier. But that's to me, that's a lot of it timing and adjusting to what Jameson Williams can do versus whatever other receivers can do. They're going to have to work on it. And when they get it down, then I think you're going to see Jameson Williams take off. But I would like to see him clean some things up, not just on deep shots, but other routes as well. And give the kid time. Like I've talked about it on this channel a ton of times. You can look at some of the Lions' all-time great players, and they didn't have stellar rookie seasons. It took them a while to grow into who they eventually became. J.I., what do we got? Where was Bugs? Injured, I guess. I don't know the specifics of it, but yeah, he was out for the game. So where he's played so far this year or how well he's played so far this year, I got to imagine there was something they were just trying to protect, knowing that, hey, we got the bye week, rest them up. All right, Miles, what do you got? Do you see DC upset about trying to call a timeout? I did not see it, but I do know somebody mentioned it yesterday in the post-game show, but I myself did not see it. waiting for Bommy to show up. Yeah, a lot of that going on apparently this morning. Phil, Rob, we have number 2 offense right now. I think Gibbs and Laporta were great picks, and at this point, it'd be hard to argue that, especially after those performances last night. Those 2 guys, yeah, basically you traded Carter for those 2, and I think you did a pretty good job with it. All right, Michael, what do you got? Howdy, Dan, the Lions faithful. Do the Lions re-sign offensive guard Jackson, reduced now to the injury? The longer he's out, it's not going to help his case, is it? I got to imagine they're going to try to re-sign him. I do think there's going to be more and more chatter about Frank Ragnow, where he's at in his career just because of injuries. Hopefully they both finish out the season pretty well, but you're going to have to make some tough calls if you're Brad Holmes. You're about to pay both tackles. I get one's already paid. You're about to pay the other. How much money do you really invest in the offensive line? I mean, that's something the team's going to have to decide. I've got no problem with resigning them if you believe they're both healthy and not going to be a problem from a health standpoint for the next few years. But they're going to have some conversations about it and see where they're going to go. You can only spend so much money, and that's part of the cap. And where you're going to allocate those funds to, we'll see. Thomas, what do you got? I heard Huge and Jalen Johnson are getting a lot of calls to trade possibly to the Lions, less draft capital. Yeah, I would say it would definitely cost less than some of the other guys we've talked about here in the channel. How much is it going to cost? I don't know, but the Lions do need to, in my opinion, they do need to address it because they've got to get less schematic sacks. They've got to get guys who can win one-on-one situations. Rob, too bad we couldn't get Max Crosby. Yeah, he's something, ain't he? And watching him live, just plays angry, plays fast, and he doesn't come out many plays. He's out there the vast majority of the time. Thomas Lands Falcons are willing to give up a second-round pick for Sweat, and the Lions are not. Then it just shows that Brad Holmes, he's just not going to, in his opinion, overspend on anybody. I get it, man. He's, Sweat's 28, so really you got him this year and next year's 29. But still, even if you get 3, maybe 4 years out of him, I mean, that's not horrible for a pick. But I don't know. We'll see. Fletch, what do you got? Morning from Florida. Good morning to you. What a weird game. Not as close as it looked. Come on, Brad. Get me something. Yeah. And I would say, yeah, all the stats showed the Lions dominated the game everywhere other than the scoreboard. And that's probably the result of those turnovers. Every time you take, you turn the ball over, you take points away from the scoreboard or an opportunity for at least. So, yes, I agree. We could have really blown them out. Phil, did the Lions showcase anyone for trade capital? I can't see anybody that we'd be getting rid of to bring in draft picks. Maybe I'm wrong, but, I'm trying to think of maybe some of the depth that the outside rush that we have with maybe Aquara. I don't think anybody's trading for Harris. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody would trade for Aquara, but what are you going to get? Maybe a 7th-round pick or so? I don't know. I think where you're at as a team right now, trying to make a big run, playoffs, push for the Super Bowl, I don't see it getting rid of those guys just to bring in a 7th-round pick. But who knows? Maybe they do. Rob, yes, here Atlanta are going big on trades, but they need a QB. Yeah, they do. I'm not sold on the kid they have there. I think he's not bad. I think he's somebody that would have been an ideal draft if you're going to bring in and let develop for 2-3 years, sort of like they do with Jordan Love. But putting him in the starting spots right away, I don't think he did that kid any justice. He doesn't seem ready. Don Preston Smith, Packers. I did see that about the Packers defensive end. Name has been mentioned as a trade target. Detroit. Boy, do the Packers try to help out the Lions? I mean, I guess if we're gonna, if they really are trying to phone in the season, then maybe it happens. Hold on a second. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't think the Packers would trade with us, but maybe they do. Fletch, what do you got? I kind of want D Money to get back. What a game for Gibbs. The country needed to see him. Yeah, and everybody's gonna be grossly aware of him. So everybody was saying, well, maybe if we trade Gibbs, we can get like a 4th rounder or something like that. I know they were talking about J-Mo too. yeah, right now after last night's game, Gibbs stock just shot through the roof. So I don't think either of them, any of them, are getting traded. We Rob, we need both Gibbs and Monty. Too much wear on Gibbs otherwise. Yeah, you need to protect him. You need to make sure you moderate how many reps and hits they all get. No. We need Montgomery back. This league is brutal. And running back a few good games for Gibbs. Let's slow down a bit. Yep. Bergs, Lions are clearly much better at home. They had a home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Look out. Yeah. And I think that's what I was saying earlier, that you got to do everything you can to make that happen, because just how it works out, we're better at home than we are on the road, at least as far as an offense. Fletch, yeah, that fumble call was ridiculous with the view we had. Yeah, I was I was surprised that they made it a fumble, but we survived it. How about that? Talking Super Bowl or bust. Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Phil, new helmets are cool, but not with the gray uniforms. Yeah, I got to imagine you'll just see the helmets once in a while. Probably not very often. All right, Ryan, schedule makers did us a favor. Our next game is the Chargers, who play on Monday night next week. They get a short week, and we're coming off a bye. That's a good point, man. That's a great point. Because they're going to lose basically a day of preparation. Everything's going to be a little bit shorter for them. Let's hope we can get that win. Duncan, I'm guessing no trades for us today, folks. We'll see what happens, but I know last year there was quite a bit of stuff that happened right at the trade deadline. Could be another day like that. Kind of a sprint into the close. Freddie, Lions should trade a second and future fourth for Daniel Hunter. We need to get an edge more than anything. Man, if we could get that, I'd be okay with that. A second and another fourth. Yeah, if we can pull that off, works for me. Duncan, 9 more hours until the deadline. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be watching all day. I know that. Rob, the 3 turnovers were bad. That could have been disaster. Yeah, they really could have. But thankfully, the first one, we fumble, and the very next play, we get it right back on the pick. So the Raiders, need to take some blame into what they didn't do with the turnovers. Other than the pick 6, I get that one they made the house call on. Cloud, Raiders are a really bad team. Lions can definitely make some improvements. Going into the bye at 6-2 is great, though. 100%. It wasn't a pretty win last night, but it was a win. We would have all been yelling and screaming bloody murder if they would have lost that game. Instead, you played fairly horribly on offense, in regards to the turnovers at least, and he still won by 12. Patterson missed that chip shot field goal. I got to imagine a lot of Lions fans were going, same old Lions, and rightly so. And then when Devontae Adams was wide open on another deep shot, game of inches, but it works to our favor again. They're going to have to do something to clean that up, though, because if you think back to Tampa Bay and then last night, and there have been other games I'm probably not thinking of, that's happening way too much, where somebody's getting wide open, deep down the field, and we're just lucking out a little bit that those quarterbacks are getting smashed right as they're trying to throw. So, all right, Donkey, same here. I don't see Brad making a trade. If he does, it will be a small one. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a first round, second round type trade for us, but could we be adding some depth? For sure. Phil, Monty hurt more than Swift. Well, those ribs, yeah, they put him out for a bit. Let's hope that he can stay healthy the rest of the year, because prior to this year, he really hadn't missed much. I don't think any time. Michael, it was cool to see jersey swap with Hutch and Crosby. Yeah, there's probably a lot of respect between them mutually. They play a similar style. Yeah, that was a nice one. But Crosby, same way you could get him, I'd be all right with it. You know what? I might even give up a couple of days without Mountain Dew just to make that happen. So see what happens. All right, a couple more, and then speaking of Mountain Dew, it's about that time. Rob, it's a matter of cost in the trade. Brad won't overpay. Yeah, I 1,000% agree with that. He's not going to make an emotional decision. To him, it's all got to be very calculated. How about Craig Reynolds last night? Depth, not a problem at running back. Yeah, dude played well. He hit the holes hard. He went after things. Felt bad he'd lost that touchdown on the holding penalty, but it is what it is. That was a pretty legit hold. Freddie, JMO's development is snail's pace. Why Lions don't trust him? Yeah, they've got to do something to address that. the bye probably comes at a very good time for the offense and Jameson Williams to try to clean some things up there. All right, Rob, Phil, actually, money is usually pretty healthy. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he does not have a history of it. He's just unfortunately been hurt this year. Trade for Chase Young to Detroit. Josh, what do you think that would cost us? I'm thinking at least a second from what Washington probably wants, but maybe we can get something for less. Patterson needs to get better field goal kicker. Scares me. Yeah, my problem with him, and even though he did hit a 50 plus yarder last night, is just that's not really his forte, hitting from distance. He is fairly accurate, other than on the 25-yarder last night. But even the great Eddie Murphy missed a kick for the Lions. I'm not going to mention which one I'm talking about, but it happens. Phil usually is not helping us. Yeah. Rob, only thing that worries me about Chase Young is his injury history. Yeah, and that's another thing. You talk about Max Crosby last night. What they say on the air, like he's never missed the snap or something like that, or a game because of injury. Brett J-Mo is still basically a rookie, just needs reps. He'll be fine. I agree. Give him time. At the end of the year, if he hasn't shown some progression, that will be the worry sign. Felicia, go Lions, and hopefully you have a great day. Manifest My Destiny. Good morning, man. Good morning, Dan. How would Max Crosby look in Hallelujah Blue? His motor is on another level. Yeah, he would look great, and that he would change the defense. And I would say this, at that point, the defense looks pretty good. I would still like another corner. Maybe Gilmore can be the answer. Maybe you don't need to bring in somebody else, but he would completely change opposing offensive schemes because you would have to account for him all the time. Thomas, Houston is not close to coming back. Reports are that maybe the last few weeks of the season, plus with the injury, his explosive first step will be compromised. Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to take him, whenever he does return, it's going to take him some time to rebuild some strength and trust in that injury. All right, 1-2 more, and then it's due 30. Monty missed 3 games total in his career until this year. Just freak luck. It's a contract year for Swift. Of course, he's balling out. I'd rather have Monty anyways. Yeah, and you guys have heard me talk about, I really think the Lions hierarchy just decided to move on from him because of the Dallas game last year. If you're healthy and not going to play, we can't trust you. We're moving on from you, and I think that's what he did. Yeah, Freddie, he did drop another one last night, but that one he did make, the catch, that was pretty spot on. His run blocking's fine. I'd even say his run blocking's pretty dang good. It's just getting over some of the little components in the passing game that's going to take him to another level. So, all right, guys, I'm going to call it good here. We're going to be on for 53 minutes. If some breaking news happens, of course, I'll get on. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Really like to try to make it to, like I said, 4,200 subs by the Chargers game. So if you can help make that happen, that'd be great. Don't forget to hit the like button. Otherwise, I'll try to get on the air later today, maybe like 3:30. Just do a little something into the end of the trade deadline. If work pops up, though, I won't be able to do it. But hopefully you all have a great day. Make it a Mountain Dew day, and I'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.